Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do a game recap of my friend's game. My friend is a beginner, so he's now rating 820 on chess.com rapid game. And although it's a beginner level game, but it's not like a one move blunder. It's more about the idea of your how to continue your game, how to gain an advantage. If you have advantage, how to continue to win the game. So without further ado, let's do this recap. So the game starts with e4, e5, never f3, knight c6, bishop c4 Italian game. Now black plays the move h6. It's called fighter attack, a defense, anti-fighter defense. Why? Because normally black want to develop your bishop to c5 or knight to f6. Let's say he played knight f6. Here comes nasty move knight g5 to attack the f7 pawn. It's called fly lever attack. So the only move for black to block this attack is to play the move e5. If you take, if black doesn't know the scenery, just play the move knight takes d5. Here comes the sacrifice. Knight takes f7 after king takes. Uh, the queen f3 for king the king and the knight. So if the king go back, just take a knight. So the king loses right to castle and white wins the pawn and then will win the game. So only one move for black not to lose this game is to play king e6. It looks very, very dangerous. After knight c3, knight b4 castle, white next move is to play rook e1 and then play d4 to open out the center. You can see although black is out of pieces, but the king is extremely dangerous. So this position is good for white. It's about it's about +1 advantage. So no one will play black side. So this is really annoying. The only move for black not to lose is to play the move like b5 or play knight a5. But you have to know the scenery. So many beginners want to play the move h3 to avoid this trick. But this move does not control center, so it's not a good move either. But it's not a losing move. So after knight c3, black now play the move like g6. I believe the best move here maybe develop the bishop, maybe develop the knight. This move you can see you try to develop the bishop to the very very long diagonal, but now this diagonal is blocked by your own pieces, your own pawn. So bishop did not do anything here. So it's not a good way to develop and you did not control center. After d4, try to take a center, open out the bishop, good move. Take. Now, I really need to play the moonlight bishop g7 or uh, play the moonlight d6 to start white from playing e5 and then develop your bishop. And now, by make a mistake by playing knight takes knight. It looks like the 3-point trade 3.9, but you can see queen is really strong on d4 attacking the rook. So you don't want to move the rook, lose the right to castle. You cannot develop your pieces to g7. So your only move available here is to play queen f6. Knight f6. Maybe queen f6 is a good move, but you can play e5 to attack, try to avoid the queen trade. And the knight f6 is a losing for black now because you can play e5. So if black cannot jump to g5, cannot to e4, cannot to d5. If you go here, you can even play g4 to further restrict the knight. You can see although you over expand on your king side, but your king can castle to the king side. Let's say bishop develop castle. The king is very, very safe on queen side, and you have already pushed your pawn on king side. And you can start your attack by putting the move like rook a hf1, f4, h4, something like that. You got really, really great winning chance. So maybe black can just go to the g8, but you can see this position. White black really don't develop any pieces, and it's like +3 advantage according to the engine. So e5 is really, really strong. If your opponent didn't stop you from expanding on the center, you always consider about push your pawn if you're leading development. So, but my friend played Queen E5. This move is not a good move. Why? Because this move only help Black develop his pieces. Let's say Bishop E7, and after let's say castle, Rook E1 is on the board. Your queen is really vulnerable on the E5 square. And also, you gotta move like D6, open our bishop and attack your queen. So queen is really misplaced on E5 square. So this move is not a good move. The best way to play uh is bad for except for E5 you can develop your pieces, you can castle, or a good move. So after check bishop E7, my friend make a mistake by playing the move knight D5. Why is a mistake? Because you try to attack this knight by two pieces, but this knight got two defender, so you cannot win the piece, you cannot win the pawn. So this move only you can only trade the knights. But now you got a you lead the development, you got a control of the center, so you got a space advantage. If you have space advantage, you don't want to trade pieces because uh, if we many pieces on the board, like it's only very hard to develop because it's too crowded. This move is just help by solve his problem, and you spend one move, two move, three move to trade the knight, and by only spend one move, so your advantage is gone. It's disappeared. Disappeared. Yeah. So after D6, uh, utilize this queen by playing knight takes nine in here. After queen dodge to here, and this is not good move. The best square maybe is to play d4 square, so you cannot you will not harassed by bishop e7 e6. So after queen d5, bishop e6, queen b5 trade castle queen king g7. So now the position is back to equal because uh, Black is not behind development and he got a very powerful dark square bishop. Bishop is alive on this diagonal and your bishop is still sleeping. And Black's king is really safe on g7 square. And yeah, white indeed control more center, but it's not a very obvious advantage. So I think this position is equal. So this move just trade all of your advantage because you trade all your active pieces. So you got no advantage in the resulting position. So now I want to complete his development. After rook e8, rook e1, by take this pawn, it's always a good idea to centralize your rook and aiming your opponent's queen. But the better move here, maybe you'll play rook a b1. Why? You're attacking the bishop. After bishop move, you can counter attack your opponent. It's a really common idea. If one of your pawn is loose, you want to use your rook. You want to place your rook on the open file and then counter attack. So let's say after rook take b7, your rook is really empty on this diagonal and threatening to take the c7 pawn. It's not. It's no good way to defend this pawn, I think. So it's that idea. But rook a1 is still a good move because on the very next move you can play move e5. Utilizing this pawn, the pawn cannot take pawn. So after like bishop take, rook takes, you can play rook takes e5. Thanks to this pain, Black cannot take, and you winning the rook. So e5 is really strong here. Only good move for Black, I think, is to play bishop g5 because you want to guard this pawn by playing the move like bishop e7. You can start to consider about the move like playing e6 to weaken Black's king. After trade, you can play rook takes or queen takes. You can see black king is really weak. So after bishop g5, he want to trade and then and after you try everything, but still win a pawn. So you don't want to trade a bishop. You want to keep this bishop alive and keep this tension and maybe play h4 on next turn. So it's really hard for black to find a move here, although he's up a pawn. Maybe let's say he want to connect in his rook by playing a move like I don't know queen d7. You can still you can play h4 to attack the bishop after bishop move. Maybe you can consider to trade everything. After trading everything, you can play a move like queen d4. It's a fork, so at least you can win back a pawn, and then game continues. So it's one way to play, but my friend played queen b3 here to attack this pawn, and now after here still have this idea to play the move e5, but he played the move d5, queen d5. Try to centralize his queen to put pressure, but you just break the this pin because now queen and the queen attack each other after a pawn trade. So d5 is not that effective. So after the move queen d7, this move is blunder because you did not connect your queen and your rook. So maybe the best way for black to play here is to try to trade pieces because you feel some pressure on the center. And you up a pawn, so you definitely want to trade pieces. So maybe let's say bishop g5 after this trade, although you got a double pawn, but you're pawn up and you got a very clear target, maybe on the e file, or maybe you push the pawn to expand your queen side. So is why one have to defend this position. But Black just want to play normally, just try to connect his rook, but his counter tactics. E5 is a good move. After trade, due to sense to this pain, black cannot take because you will lose the queen. So maybe black here have to play the move like bishop g5. After you keep the tension, um, after you trade, yeah, the game continues because you can trade everything. No, he cannot play now because now this rook is hanging. So after trade, I have to play the move like I don't know rook d8 and maybe you cannot win back this pawn, or you can because if you want to play move like rook e7 after you trade, you want to take this pawn. Yeah, you want to take this pawn, but you got a backward mate, so you have to defend yourself. So you still down a pawn. So maybe you try to keep this tension. After here, maybe you can consider move like f4 or h4. Let's say f4, go back. You can consider to play the move like e6. Try to open black king is one way to play, in my opinion. So after e5, unfortunately, black blunder by playing the move bishop takes e5 after trade, and now white just up a rook, so it's a winning position. After rook d8, rook back to e2, c6, queen d4 check, f6, and my friend find a brilliant idea to try to infiltrate on the e file to double out his rook. After c5, rook d7 check after check, and then play the move queen f6. Here's the mating one. Is a very common mating. So after this move, black resign. So I think my friend plays a good game, but here's some play he can improve. For example, this one, if your opponent did not control center, you try to you try to restrict his pieces, or just normal default and prepare for your attack. And you do not move your pieces many times in the opening because you spend too much move and your space advantage will disappear. And then here, when your B file or your C file or A file is open, you want to put your rook on the open file. Let's say rook AB1. Immediately you can counter attack black king, black queen side. So here, and I I I think this e5 move is brilliant because you try to smash the center. When you centralize your pieces, good thing will happen when you open out the position. Okay, and then I want to share another game I play over the board. So this game, okay, I got a white pieces. It's a 20 minutes plus 10 seconds rapid game. I play e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, Scotch game. My opponent played rare move like queen e7 trying to attack this pawn, but I can easily defend by playing move knight c3. If your opponent play a rare move, you just try to follow your opening principle, just devour your pieces. After he trade this pawn and just help me to centralize the queen. After I develop this move like knight d5, it looks attempting try to attack uh, your opponent's queen, but it's not very good move. Because you cannot win the game by only using the knight and the queen, so you definitely try to bring your pieces into the game. So I develop first, and then castle. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Can join the attack, and and then after I calculate it, I can prepare. I play the move e5. Oh no, sorry. I play the move f3 first. I will try to restrict his knight. After he cannot castle now because he will lose this pawn. So that's why you play a move like a6. So I think it's a tie because you can see my opponent's pieces really crowded and he did not control center, and I got nearly my all the pieces out of drawn into the game, so I can play e5 now. After the trade, or it cannot trade because if the trade, I trade, this file is open. This bishop can join the game. This rook can join the game, and he still cannot castle because I can play more queen a7, try to checkmate on the next turn. So he tried to trade some pieces, but I calculate I just trade. Cannot take with the queen because the bishop, and now queen is under attack. After take, uh, if I trade, I can win a pawn, but it's not. It's still winning, but it takes some time. But now I can bring my knight into the game by playing move knight d5 because the queen just stay in the e7. So knight d5 this move cannot go anywhere. So we do not hurry to attack. So after queen back to d7, I can develop pieces. So now you can see the e file is open. After the move like rook h e1, but here I calculate I can just take the bishop. After if queen takes, I can take this pawn with a bishop. So the king and the queen is really dead on the center. So he play king takes, but after trade makes this trade, I can just block this trade with c4. And after I play the discover attack, bishop g4, and then bishop e5. My opponent resign here because it's really no good move to defend his king. So you can see in this game, I do not hurry to play. I do not rush to play the move, this tempting move like knight d5, because my pieces is not prepared. So you always want to develop your pieces first and then start your attack. So it's just like this game with a better version. If you are prepared, let's say here, let's say you prepared and then play the move like e5, you win again immediately. Okay, I hope my friend can get inspired by watching to this game analysis. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like my video, please subscribe and comment below. See you next game. Bye.